Ba-da-bum, 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 bum, ba. Ba-da-bum, 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 bum, ba. Ba, 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 ba.
All right, week 13. The big game, of course, kicks off the week Thursday. You get the Saints coming to Dallas. And listen, listen, the Saints are the best team in the NFC. All right, and the Rams are right there too. But listen, don't tell me the Cowboys can't win this game. All right, I'm getting tired of hearing about these teams are so great, and oh yeah, they're definitely going to the Super Bowl and meeting Saints in a round. Listen, I'm not saying it's not going to happen, but too much has happened in the last 20 years, especially in football, where anybody can beat anybody. So before you start booking Saints Rams NFC Championship game, let's see what happens, all right? Because nothing's automatic anymore. Nothing's a lock anymore, all right? I mean, this has been going on in the last 20 years, all right? The first 30 years, right up to the mid 90s, typically the two best teams, or the best teams, I should say, in each conference, ended up going to the Super Bowl. One of the two best teams in each conference got to the Super Bowl every year, basically until about the mid 90s, all right? There's a couple exceptions I can think of off the top of my head. I don't know, 79 Rams, the 80 Raiders, 85 New England, and the 94 Chargers. That's it. Every other year, it was one of the two best teams in the conference got to the Super Bowl. And then you started seeing all these wild card teams get to the Super Bowl. The Giants won 2 Super Bowls, basically doing nothing in the regular season, but they were able to upset the Patriots twice. I mean, it's just, don't tell me the Saints are the greatest team of all time, and they're a lock for the Super Bowl or the Saints Rams NFC Championship game, because it's not. Okay, all right. In the last 20 years, I saw a team go 16-0, score 8,000 points, and they didn't win the Super Bowl. I saw 3 15-1 teams didn't even get to the Super Bowl. 2 of them, those teams didn't even make the divisional round. Oh, I'm sorry, they didn't even get out of the divisional round. So I mean, just stop with how great everybody is, because any of these teams can beat anybody. And listen, how do we know that the Cowboys aren't the Saints' kryptonite? Like, how do we know that? Like, listen, I'm not saying it's gonna happen. I'm just saying, like, how do we know? This is why you watch the games. All right, just watch the game, see what happens. All right. I never understand all this pregame stuff and all this stuff people keep screaming about, this, that, and the other thing. You don't know what's going to happen until the game starts. Oh, the ones they're going to score 50 points, the Cowboys, whatever, and then the game starts, and suddenly somebody fumbles or somebody gets hurt, and now the whole game is different. And it's like, oh, I can't believe that didn't happen. Well, what do you mean you can't believe it didn't happen? This shit's been happening for 20 years now. Teams getting upset and all that stuff. So, listen, the Saints are the best team in the NFC. If they end up in a Super Bowl, listen, I'm going to wear an Alvin Kamara jersey. I'm fine with it. All right, the guy's made me a lot of money in fantasy. But I'm going to take the Cowboys and win the game. All right, because I'm a Cowboy fan. What do you want from me? Just don't tell me it can't happen. But it's weird because it's like if you're a Cowboy fan, you want to try to get to the Super Bowl. You're like, we're probably gonna have to beat the Saints again. So it's almost like you almost want them to lose the game, but like in a way where they learn something and then they use it and exploit it if they meet in the playoffs. But it's like, you're really going to beat the Saints twice? That's going to be a tall order. But you know what? Listen, they went in there 2009. The team was undefeated. They beat them. That basically got the Cowboys in the playoffs that year. And listen, I'm tired of hearing about the NFC East is garbage. Listen, what? Who else is good in the NFC South that I should care about? Carolina? I mean, with the NFC West, with the 49ers and Cardinals, garbage. Every team's got like 2 garbage teams in it at least, and then maybe 1 good team or 2 good teams. Like that's the NFC is garbage. Shut up. Just stop it. All right. I'm not saying they're the best division, but I mean, listen. You got 2 teams 6-5. You got the defending champs at 5-6. Looking to make a comeback. So don't tell me they're the worst division in football. Shut up. But by the way, that division has more Super Bowls than anybody else, so everybody be quiet. I'm gonna take the Cowboys to win Thursday, and we'll see what happens. All right, you get Sunday, the early games. You get Baltimore and Atlanta. Lamar Jackson, then maybe he's the future. Gus Edwards comes out of nowhere, rushes for 100 yards the last 2 games. Was able to win a bid on him in Dynasty, which hopefully can turn my franchise back around. Atlanta's done, going nowhere. This is a tough game for the Ravens, though, but I don't trust Atlanta to do anything, so I'll take Baltimore. Denver at Cincinnati. A.J. Green is back. Andy Dalton is not. The backup guy, I forget his name, Driscoll, whatever his name is, did pretty well. We'll see what happens when he goes up against Denver's defense. Denver's going to win the game. And listen, I said a week or two ago, don't go to sleep on Denver. All right, they could still sneak into the playoffs because they got a light schedule. If they run the table or end up 9-7, they could get that last spot. But they'll win this week. Rams are at Detroit. Rams are coming back off the bye, off the ridiculous Monday night game. Detroit, the season is over, as it has been every year for the last 60 years, basically. The Rams are going to win this game. It's just, there's nothing to talk about here. Arizona's at Green Bay. Man, the Packers, something's off with Rodgers. It's almost like I don't want to say he's throwing the games, but he's made some really bad throws in some of these games I've been watching, and it's like, either he's losing it, which I don't think he is, or he's just trying to get McCarthy fired. Because they need to change it there. But I don't know. Green Bay's just, they just look sloppy all year. And I mean, listen, they're gonna win this game because it's Arizona. And who knows? Maybe they run it, but I don't know if 9-6-1 is gonna be good enough. So they might be done for this year. They might be eating this year so they can get a new coach in there. But whatever, they'll beat Arizona because Arizona's got nothing. Buffalo and Miami. Listen, Buffalo's going to be feisty the rest of the year. The kid Allen's playing okay for given the talent around him. And Miami, I don't trust Miami to do anything. I know they're in the middle of the playoff hunt, but they basically blew it with the Colts game last week. I'm gonna take Buffalo in an upset here, but I'll be surprised if I watch more than 8 seconds of this game. Get the Bears at the Giants. Again, Bears defense is ridiculous. Giants were looking like they might be spunky these last few weeks, but then they blow the game in Philly, and then they kind of realize they're out of it. But it doesn't matter. Bears defense is ridiculous. And I don't care if Trubisky plays or not. They're going to win this game. He looks like he might play, but it doesn't matter because the Bears are on a mission, and the Giants are heading for the offseason. So I'll take the Bears. Carolina at Tampa Bay. Carolina, just struggling now these last few weeks. Lose to Seattle, lose to Detroit, get blown out of Pittsburgh. And now you get this Tampa team, which, again, I forget who's quarterbacking. Is Winston back? I forget who got benched last week. But I think Winston played the whole game last week. I'm thinking of 2 weeks ago. This is a tough game here, but Carolina really needs this game. And I think they'll rebound this week. But I don't trust them. But I'll take Carolina. And then you get Indianapolis at Jacksonville. The Colts, rallied, beat Miami last week. They're probably gonna end up getting that last playoff spot. The Colts, because don't trust Miami, Cincinnati, forget it. Baltimore, unless Lamar Jackson, plays outstanding the last few weeks. I don't know if they're gonna. I don't think they've played each other, so I don't know who has tiebreaker there. Maybe Baltimore, Indianapolis will get it, or maybe Denver sneaks in. I don't see Miami, Cincinnati, or I don't know if there's another team in there, but Indianapolis will beat Jacksonville. What a lost season for the Jaguars. It's amazing how from one year you look great, and next year you look like garbage. That team's going nowhere. Colts will win that game. Cleveland and Houston. Cleveland finally gets a road win. First time in 3.5 years or whatever the hell it is, 4 years. And Houston's won 8 in a row. I mean, Houston could run the table, go 13-3. Still end up in that Saturday wild card game at home, and you're still not going to trust them. Like, I don't know. Like, they have to have an impressive playoff win against somebody, before you can start taking the team seriously. So maybe this is the year. But we keep saying that every year, and then New England's in the Super Bowl again. So it's like, at some point it's got to end. I'm getting ahead of myself here, but this is going to be a tough game, I think, for Houston. Because Cleveland looks like they're starting to click a little bit, and they're going to be a pain in the ass the rest of the way, because they're starting to figure it out. I mean, they can't get in the playoffs, but and they're going to give Houston a game here, but I like Deshaun Watson too much. Lamar Miller, back on track, so I'll take Houston to win, but this will be a close game. I wouldn't be surprised if Cleveland pulls an upset, but I'll take Houston to win. And you go late Sunday afternoon, you get the Jets at Tennessee. I mean, Tennessee's still in the playoff, but they're not gonna. They're too week to week. I mean, listen, they look terrible against the Colts. They get blown out by Houston, but then they look great against Dallas and New England. So I mean, go figure. I mean, by that logic, they'll lose to the Jets by 50 points, but that's obviously not going to happen. I mean, Tennessee's at home. The Jets are the Jets. Tennessee will win the game, but Tennessee's not going to get in the playoffs. Kansas City at Oakland. The Raiders showing a little bit of life the last couple of weeks. But they get the Chiefs coming in. Again, and going back to the Rams-Chiefs thing again, it's going to be interesting to see how those teams rebound from having that ridiculous game and then having a bye week. Does one of them lose momentum maybe? I mean, I don't know. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but don't be surprised if one of these teams struggles down a stretch. But again, the Rams are getting Detroit. That's great. Chiefs are getting the Raiders. That's even better. Chiefs are going to win the game. They keep stay on track for that number 1 seed. Minnesota is at New England. This is going to be a weird game because Brady struggles sometimes in these games against teams that you don't necessarily expect him to struggle against, and I don't know if the Vikings defense is back on track or not. They played well against the Packers and get the win last week. This whole week I'm thinking this game was in Minnesota, and now I'm looking at the schedule and I see it's up in New England. Not that that's relevant, but I mean, I'll take New England here, but Minnesota will probably give them a game. I'm going against Tom Brady and Gronk in my New York City Fantasy League, so they're definitely going to be pulling for the Vikings to at least slow those two down. But New England will probably win the game because of course because Pittsburgh loses last week, and now New England's back in the 2 seed. So this is what happens every year. Like you think this is the year New England falls off. They're gonna have to play in the wild card round, and then look at this, they're in the 2 seed again, and then they control the destiny. Like it's just here we go again. So they'll get this win, and they're on track for the 2 seed again. And you get San Francisco at Seattle. Seattle's traditionally been a second half team. Russell Wilson's just a ridiculous player. I mean, and really with lack of receiving talent he's had. I mean, he's still got Baldwin, of course, but Baldwin's been banged up all year, and just still getting it done. Just played great in that Carolina game. So I mean, and listen, nobody wants to see Seattle right now. You know what I'm saying? Like nobody wants to see Seattle right now. 49ers are not going to give them a game here. Seattle will win. Sunday night you get the LA Chargers and at the Steelers. Big game obviously. If the Chargers come out here with a win, I mean, and maybe the Chiefs slip up somewhere. I mean, the Chargers can still somehow get the number 1 seed. Which to me would be ridiculous because that's just. I mean, listen, they're a good team. You know, they're a sleeper for the Super Bowl. You know, they had a bad game against Denver 2 weeks ago. You know, then they blew out Arizona after getting off their shaky start. So, you know, and the Steelers, you know, this is going to be a tough game. You know, they kind of blew that game in Denver last week. You know, after they struggled to come back against Jacksonville. So I don't know. Maybe the Steelers are starting to grind to a halt a little bit. This is a tough game. You know, Gordon's out, so that hurts the Chargers. But you know, Eckler's filled right in when Gordon's been out and done well. Oh man, this is a shootout. This game. You know, I'm gonna take. Man, I don't trust either one of these teams here though. I'm gonna take the Chargers in an upset. I don't know. I just like the Chargers this year. I don't know. I can't. It just seems like they're going on the road, going across the country. They got no Gordon. You know the Steelers are at home, but I'm gonna say the Chargers pull this one out somehow. But of course, I'm not basing that on anything. And then you get Monday night. You get the Redskins at the Eagles. You know, and listen, go back to the Cowboys for a second. You know, they lead the division right now. They have a tiebreaker on Washington. But, you know, here's the week where, they lose to the Saints probably, maybe. And then, now if Washington wins, they go back up a game. But if Washington loses to Philly, then they're both 6-6. And then if the Cowboys lose, they're all 6-6. And then it's up for grabs again. So, this is a tough week for the Cowboys. That's what they did. They really got to get that win. But, Washington going into Philly, I mean, Philly's going to win the game. I mean, it's just, because if Philly loses, they're basically, you can't say that they're done, but I mean, they'd be two back of Washington, and they'd be in trouble with the tiebreaker with 4 games left. But it's not going to happen, I mean, listen, Washington played okay on Thanksgiving with Colt McCoy. They had a couple of turnovers that hurt them, and then Amari Cooper turned on the Jets a couple of times. So, again, the Redskins, you think they're basically out of it because they lost their quarterback, but they'll hang in there. But they'll slowly fade at the end here. But they'll give Philly a game. But Philly needed that comeback win against the Giants, and they'll probably win this game. And listen, you could be looking at 3 teams at 6-6 in the NFC East. Oh, but they're the worst division in football. All right, whatever. All right, so there you go. I'm taking Philly to win the game. Even though I probably prefer Washington wins the game, but Philly will probably win. All right, so there you go. We'll be doing the thing Thursday night. Saints and Cowboys, and let's see what happens. That's all I'm gonna say. So, all right, there you go. Week 13. I'm gonna go to sleep now.